Station, everyone. Happy new comic book day. Happy Whiplash Wednesday. That's right, guys. It's Whiplash Wednesday with the PCP Army Bad Batch. And kicking it off was Nick Comic Culture with his Cadets, Toys, and More video. Go check that out. But right now is Chatting with the Comic Community, episode 27. And you guys know I had to bring on another Canadian onto the show, and it being so close to Halloween, I had to pick a certain one. That's right, guys. I'm talking about Actual Dracula. Let's bring him back. Station, my friend, thank you so much for joining me on episode 27 of Chatting with the Comic Community, my fellow Canadian.
Yes. Thank you for having me. This has become one of my favorite shows. Absolutely. So I'm
awesome.
honored to be on. Yeah.
That means so much. So the people watching at home that don't know a lot about you, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I am Actual Dracula, but you can also call me Adrian. Some people do. I live in Toronto, born and raised right here in Toronto. I am gonna be 40 years old in like 2 weeks, something like that. But I am also ageless. And I don't know. I love reading and collecting comic books. I'm a full-time cabinet maker, woodworker. I've been doing that for almost 10 years now. And my hobby is comic books, which that's kind of what my channel is all about, among other things, mostly nonsense, comic books and just nonsense, I would say. Yeah.
So you said you're almost 40, so you're telling us that you are actually Dracula.
That's my name. Yep.
Yeah. So let's get into it. How did you start getting into comics? Like, where was the stepping stone into your comic collecting, comic reading?
Yeah, well, actually, it's interesting. Stepping stone. So, because, like I said, I'm almost 40 now, so I am a child of the 80s. So I think the kind of before I even read comics, I was kind of, I grew up with like the best shows, the best toys, He-Man, Transformers. That was the stuff at the youngest, at an early age that I was really into. And that definitely, I'd say, I don't remember ever reading those comic books as a kid, but I was obviously had that, I guess, appetite for things like that. And the first comic books I remember buying were Batman, Superman, and I was drawn to the artwork immediately. I always liked to draw. And so, I would go buy comic books initially at the drugstore, usually at Shoppers Drug Mart, when they would still have like spinner racks, or even just on the magazine rack. And then 1989, Tim Burton's Batman movie came out, and that thing, that solidified it for me. Batman as being my all-time favorite character. I must have watched that movie 1,000 times. I used to watch it almost every weekend when I had it on VHS. And then in the 90s, that's, I'd say, when I really got into collecting on a regular basis. Jim Lee was doing X-Men, Todd McFarlane was doing Spider-Man. That was the stuff that I was really into. And like I said, I always loved to draw, so I wanted to like be those guys. Those were my heroes. I loved their artwork so much, still do to this day. And I would, yeah, just, I mean, that was the best, you know. Uh, there, so those books hold a special place for me. Definitely, a lot of those, and of course, when they went off to start Image, Spawn was just the coolest thing at the time. And I'm so glad that I kind of haven't really kept up with reading Spawn, but that's definitely one book, one character that I'm happy to see is still just as popular as he was back then.
So have you been like thinking of getting the Spawn Compendium and starting over and continuing reading that?
I would love to read the whole thing from the start. Absolutely. I don't know when. I mean, my reading list is so long. I don't know when I'd actually get around to it. I did pick up some of the new Spawn books, like the King Spawn, which I really liked. But I would definitely like to go back and at some point, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to read all 300 plus issues of that. I wouldn't mind doing that.
That's definitely my plan. Like me and Big Herm both read the first 50 issues of the Spawn Compendium, and I'm
Mhm.
waiting for the next 50. So I'm going to get to that point where I'll be all caught up. So I'm super pumped for that.
Yeah.
So you said you got into drawing. I've seen you draw quite a few times. Cardboard Crazies over on Lamer Frame.
Mhm.
What age did you start drawing?
Uh, Pretty much my whole life. I mean, ever since I was, old enough to draw kindergarten, and you know, my I was always encouraged, by my teachers and parents to continue with it. I guess people uh, saw maybe I had some talent or something. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it, and yeah, when I was a kid, I thought I wanted to be a comic book artist. I wanted to draw Spider-Man or X-Men or something like that. That's what I thought I wanted to do. Um, and but towards the end of high school, I got to the point where I guess I kind of realized what a grind that can be. I mean, yeah, it's amazing if you love, it's great to draw Spider-Man or Superman flying through the air, but drawing comic books is not just that. You got to be able to draw everything. You got to be able to draw buildings and cars and rooms full of people, and you got to be really good at it, and you got to be able to do it really quickly. And in terms of just the way I like to draw, I just didn't think it was a realistic uh, path for me, or one that I don't know that I would have particularly enjoyed it. And especially now, knowing what it's like I don't regret not doing that, because yeah, it's an absolute grind to draw comic books full time. I can see that it's something that you could possibly, well, like anything, you could end up losing your passion for it.
Yeah, if you're doing it just for money and that
Hmm.
your passion gets depleted. So what's
Yeah.
your favorite thing to draw?
Honestly, I don't really have a favorite thing. I like to just draw kind of random like characters, like weird faces. Just it's just a lot of what I've always liked doing is just taking a sketchbook and just start randomly drawing things without really having much of a plan. I have, in the past, I have done some freelance illustration. And again, that stuff is, it's that thing where it depends what it is. Maybe I'll enjoy it, maybe I won't. But um, I've found that I'm trying to kind of push myself more towards um, doing things I would, I want to actually. in order to push myself, I think I've got to do things I may not necessarily want to do because I'm going to become a better artist overall. Um, and I've gone through phases. Like there was a while where I was just doing a lot of geometric stuff, a lot of geometric patterns. I still love playing around with that stuff, whether it's by hand or on the computer. I really enjoy that. It's very therapeutic. It's meditative. There's no you really don't have to. Well, not that you don't have to think about it. It's just that there's something I've always really enjoyed about that. That being said, ever since I got back into collecting comic books, it's also sort of reignited my, I guess, love for wanting to draw comic book characters. So I have kind of got back into doing that a little bit. And really, my hope is with I was trying to do more of that this year. Work has been crazy busy. I haven't had much time to do it. But my hope is moving forward into the next year that I can do more of that kind of stuff, especially stuff that I can just send to people. Just I have a whole bunch of blank sketch covers I want to do stuff with. So that's kind of my goal over the next year is to fill all those up.
No, that'd be really cool, man.
Yeah.
So, what is your most disliked thing to draw? Like, is it like cars, feet, like?
I'd say buildings. Yeah, I've done, in school, did learned how to draw things in proper perspective. I don't particularly enjoy that though. Yeah. Although you know what I do, I that's not entirely true because I love drawing buildings just from my imagination. But the idea of like say drawing like just skyscrapers as a background, that just seems very tedious to me.
Yeah, just like a normal run of the mill building is just kind of boring to draw and stuff. You kind of want to like draw a funky looking building from your mind rather than.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So moving on, you're a big horror person, hence the name Actual Dracula, and you tell people you love horror all the time. Like what kind of horror movies did you love growing up with?
Yes. So, well, I will preface this by saying I do love horror, but for me, what's more important than the genre of something isn't that important to me. Like I love horror stuff, but I love basically if there's a good story or if there's whether it's a comic book or a movie, if it's a story I like or the art I like or a director or actor, it doesn't really matter to me what the genre is. That being said, I've always liked horror, though not necessarily more than some other genres. I'm really into sci-fi as well, and crime stuff. Yeah. So, but in terms of horror, the first horror movie I ever saw was Carrie. Which I remember I saw when I was very young. At the time, I didn't know it was Carrie. I thought it was Prom Night because I remember going into the video store and in the horror section, I saw this movie called Prom Night. And then I saw this movie that took place at a prom. So I assumed it was Prom Night. Years later, I realized, of course, it was Carrie. And I guess I was too young to really understand what was going on. The first movie that really scared me was The Exorcist, and today it's still one of my favorite horror movies. My favorite horror movie of all time, though, is The Shining. That's just across the board an excellent movie. Yeah, I'd say I'm more into when I think of my favorite horror movies, yeah, they maybe lean more towards the paranormal stuff like that. Although I am, of course, big into Dracula movies, um, and yeah, like zombie stuff, slasher stuff. I like all that. It's fine, but I would say I generally lean more towards paranormal and vampire stuff. Yeah.
So you mentioned sci-fi, and being from Canada, of course, we have Sci-Fi Channel and a ton of sci-fi um, TV shows. Like I've watched a ton. I'd love to hear like what shows that you have watched from sci-fi.
Sci-fi shows, yeah. There's so many that I've been meaning to get to that I haven't watched yet, like The Expanse. I don't know if you've watched that.
I have not.
The Expanse, I'd like to see. Yeah, in terms of newer stuff, I have a list. There's just so much stuff to watch, and generally speaking, I'll watch Star Trek and I'll watch a lot of it and watch it over and over again. Huge TNG, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. So if I'm watching a sci-fi show, there's a very good chance it's just going to be Star Trek again, because you can't go wrong with that. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I know. Yeah, not too many, not too much stuff lately. A lot of the stuff in the past year I've been watching has been like comic book related. So not a lot of sci-fi. I I need to get back to my sci-fi viewing list for sure.
I can probably add a few if they're not already added to your list. Like
Mhm.
Haven was a great one. I don't know if you've ever heard about that, but
No, I don't know that one.
it was actually filmed here in Nova, like right beside Prince Edward Island, which is Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
and it's based off The Colorado Kid by Stephen King.
Okay, cool.
And another good one, probably heard of this, Eureka.
Eureka. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah. Yeah.
Warehouse 13, Continuum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just a few.
Yeah. I'll add those to my list. The one I want to watch next is The Expanse, though, because I heard great things about that. Also filmed in Toronto.
Nice.
Yeah, check that one out. It's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, they adapted it into a comic book as well.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Oh, Dark Matter. That was another one. Dark Matter. Yeah.
That Dark Matter one, that was about that. Oh no, that was. There's one that was really cool, and it was like all about this girl who had like there's like clones of her, or there was multiple versions of her. I don't know if that was Black Matter or what. It'd be interesting. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
what are some of your favorite sci-fi movies then?
Favorite sci-fi movies. We got to go Alien and Aliens, which of course bridges that sci-fi horror gap. Um, I do like most. I'd say I like about half of the Star Trek movies. The other half are, maybe not so great. I love. Uh, let's see. 2001, another Stanley Kubrick great. Let's see. See now I'm totally blanking. I should have. I should have like just a list on my computer right here. Um,
Now,
God,
here's the
there's just
question: what did you think of Alien 3?
you know uh there was things about it I liked. It's just when you compare it to the first two, it's just nowhere near as good. That's the problem. is that if it was a movie on its own, I might have enjoyed it more, but because the two films that came before it were just like blow that one out of the water. So
Yeah, and you
yeah.
think it was gonna get better because like number one was good, number
Hmm.
two was even better, and
Yeah.
number three was just like what did they do?
Yeah.
What did they do?
And then the fourth one, I think I only watched that once and never again.
I like the fourth. I think
Hmm.
this is sad to say, but I think the fourth one I liked it, but that's
Hmm.
only because it was a little bit better than the third one.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
the only reason.
Oh, so getting back to sci-fi movies, Matrix, of course, and I'd say even more so the Animatrix. Uh,
I have to watch that.
oh, dude, you have to. Absolutely. The Animatrix is incredible. Um, it's just a collection of short stories set in that universe, but it's amazing. I would say it's as good as The Matrix, as the first movie, if not better. Some people would even say it's better, which possibly, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's oh, another one I really like is what the hell is it? I just watched it again recently too. Um, it's like a sci-fi action movie, Edge of Tomorrow. That one with Tom Cruise and he keeps and Emily Blunt lives the same day over and over again. Did you watch that?
I think I did. I don't remember it.
Yeah, that's a good movie. Yeah.
So I think another movie that you would enjoy is Free Guy. I just recently
Yeah.
watched that, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, I'm gonna probably watch it sometime this week. Yeah.
So, what is your thoughts on the Matrix coming back? Did you watch the trailer, and are you like as excited as everybody else?
I saw the trailer. I don't know if I'm all that excited about it. Um, uh, I'll definitely watch it, but so I guess I'm gonna just kind of reserve my judgment until I actually watch it because, um, the trailer is just the trailer. It could end up being really great, or it could be, another disappointment. I didn't really care for the other two Matrix films. They are what they are, but um, yeah, I'll watch it. I'm not. It doesn't like. It's not something that I'm super looking forward to. I know some people are really pumped about it, whereas I'm a bit more skeptical.
That's all right. Yeah, I I was like young whenever I first watched The Matrix, so I didn't really grasp it that much. So
Hmm.
what I may have to go back and rewatch it, and then maybe I'll have that excitement other people have for The Matrix coming out. But I know so many people are excited for it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I was going to ask, but let's move on. So, like you started your YouTube channel not too long ago, and you've made friends with everybody. That's what I love about this community. They're so open and inviting to people. Like, I want to hear your story on how you got started, and what was your thoughts when you were like, you know what, I'm going to make a YouTube channel.
Yeah. So I think I started my channel. Well, going back, I didn't collect comic books for a very long time. I'd say at least 15 years, maybe longer. Um, I'd still read comics, but by the time I got to high school, I'd stopped really buying comic books on a regular basis. However, I was still like picking up trade paperbacks and graphic novels. And so for like 15 plus years, I was just buying those and reading those, not collecting floppy issues at all. And about a year and a half, I guess almost 2 years ago now, I got back into collecting. And through that, I discovered, I guess, first of all, deciding to post some of my comic books on Instagram. Through that, I then discovered this whole community that before that I had no idea existed. And of course, from there, going onto YouTube and looking at comic book content, you start going down that rabbit hole because one video leads you to the next. You just start to discover different channels. I think some of the first channels I saw were, uh, Comic Tom and Very Gary. I think probably Pressable Defects. And I remember at the time I had also wanted to. I had just acquired a small collection, and I wanted to sell some of my books. And I decided that mystery boxes might be a good way to do that. So that was another thing that I wasn't really aware of, that how big the comic book mystery box thing was. So um, went on YouTube and wanting to see how other people were doing these. I discovered all these mystery box, unopening videos, and that's how I discovered a lot more channels through that, including DJ Links. I think that was probably one of the first mystery box videos I watched was DJ Links, and um, so from there. I started to, I guess, follow some of these people on Instagram as well, and it was one of those things that just kind of snowballed from there. I met so many people that and became friends with all these people that I had no idea that that was going to happen. Um, and it's just been incredible. It's the most amazing community, as you know. And in terms of my own channel, um, I guess I had just seen watching what all these other people were doing. It just gave me an idea of, uh, you know, I guess I thought, I could do something like that as well, but I would kind of want to put my own spin on it for sure. And I did have some ideas for things, uh, you know, that at least I guess could kind of make it my own. So I figured I'd just give it a shot. And I did, and the response seemed to be fairly positive. So I've just continued along with it. I think I started my channel about 7 months ago or so. Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, from the very start, it's just I was nervous to begin with because I had not. I, if someone had told me, 2 years before that I'd be doing my own YouTube channel, just speaking to a camera, not even let alone going live. That's something I never thought I'd be doing. That I'd be comfortable enough to do. But because this community has been so amazing and supportive and accepting, that all kind of went away very quickly. And not entirely. I still get nervous when I go on live streams all the time. It's just that I know that it's that anyone watching, I probably don't have to worry about that. I can do what I want and say what I say, and I don't have any I guess it's not something that I have any reason to be nervous about, I suppose. And where was I going with that? Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I guess I would say the one thing I'd say with my channel was another thing I was not expecting was over the past couple of months, it has I started this my weekly live show, Casual Dracula, which kind of just came naturally out of being on so many other people's live streams, and then that made me want to do my own. Um, Now, in the past little while, I haven't really put out much edited content, which is what my channel started out as. But I've been trying to stick to, the weekly live thing at least, and hopefully I'll be doing some more edited stuff soon, which is fun. I really like doing that stuff as well because I can teach myself editing software in at least a crude manner. Um, but the main thing for me is always been not to. I don't want to get burnt out on it. I don't want to ever feel like pressured to be making stuff for my channel. I don't want it to ever stop being fun, essentially, because I'm still having a really good time doing it. And I know that if you're not careful, that can happen. So and if you ever feel like that for anyone, if you've got a channel or something, like if you need to take a break, do it absolutely, because yeah, it can burn you out for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely important to like take a step back and like figure out what you're doing. Like even from Instagram, like even shut off your phone for like a day and just like take
Hmm.
a day to yourself and that, and just because if you get too lost into the reality, it becomes you and you become too much of it. And
Yeah.
that, so you got to make sure that you just take a step back and be like, okay, this is reality right now.
Yeah. Yeah. When Instagram went down the other day, people lost their minds. They're like, oh, what do I do with my hands? I don't know.
But like you were saying, man, like I agree. This community brings the best out in people. And so like whenever you're like going to go into a live and stuff, you're nervous, but until you're around those people, you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, now I'm more comfortable, and now you're just being, it's just you're talking to your friends at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of put at ease immediately. Even like the first live show I ever did, or I remember the first live show I was going to do was going to be Whack Comics. Did a 24-hour live stream. That was going to be my first time on camera. I couldn't make it, um, but that's another channel that from the very beginning have always supported me. They were I think probably one of the first channels I ever reached out to, being like, you guys are doing the kinds of things I want to be doing. I'd love to, collaborate with you at some point. And and they did, and all the stuff I've done with them has been so much fun. I love working with those guys. Anyhow, so the very first live stream I ever went on was Lamer Frame, with Rod the Rican. And again, that's a unique show to be your first, because not only was I nervous for being on a live stream, but there's that pressure of getting the drawing done in 2 minutes, which I guess kind of in a way kind of helped me forget about the fact that I was like live. It was like, I got to worry about the drawing, forget about what's going on out there.
And then you have Bearded in the background just
Yeah,
chirping you, so like
just
that.
chirping. Yeah, the great evil bearded one. Yeah. Um, yeah, no, he's great as well. The two of them put on a great show. It's absolutely one of my favorites. Yeah.
So not only have you, looks like I've frozen a little bit. I don't know what's
Mm.
going on here. Um, I don't know if it's my camera or what, but I'm just gonna. You can still hear me though, right?
I can still hear you. Yeah.
All right. So not only have you been going live, you've been talking with so many great people in this community, but you've also actually talked with and had interviews with some of your favorite writers.
Yes.
Like, let's talk a little bit about that, because like It's crazy because I remember my first time messaging somebody. It was literally I messaged like four people, like, oh yeah, they're gonna message me back, and all four people said yes, and I was like, ah, like it's not the worst feeling that they're gonna say no. It's the worst feeling when they say yes, and you're like, okay, now I have to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Then you got to prepare. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was one very unexpected result of starting my channel, was getting to do these creator interviews. Um, are you still there?
yeah, I'm still here, just
Oh,
kind of.
okay. Just all blacked out. Yeah, but you know what? I saw that. There we are. Um, yeah, because I quickly became aware that a lot of these creators are not just like, they're not, these people are not separate from this community. They're part of it. And a lot of them are absolutely willing to, if you reach out to them, they'll respond. And, all my experiences so far have been really positive. Even creators I've reached out to, or they said, I'd love to, but I'm, very busy right now. That's totally understandable. Um, but yeah, so the interviews I've got to do so far have been every one of them. I felt uh, has been I've really enjoyed doing. Um, some of them, and I don't think any of them have ever really gone the direction I kind of expected them to go, which was great because I've kind of wanted them to be, I do prepare questions, but I kind of like it to, I like the ones like, for example, the one I had with Ryan Brown, where that that guy loves to talk, so he just starts talking and talking, and it was just more of kind of a natural discussion than an interview, which is great. That's absolutely kind of the vibe I would shoot for. Um, and in general, I like to keep it kind of try, and I try. The hard thing is trying to come up with questions that these guys are not answering all the time. That's my thing. Is I look at the work, I read it, I see whether it's, obviously some people I can't consume their whole body of work, but I look at stuff that I like in particular, and all the people I've interviewed, they're all writers and artists that I'm a fan of and have read their stuff. So there's things when I my reason for wanting to interview them in the first place is because I'm fans of their work, and so um, I try to look into stuff. I try to, uh, I guess, pick out interesting things, whether it's in one piece or one series, and kind of um, pull things out of that I think are a bit more interesting, so that I can kind of find questions that maybe they're not really answering all the time. There's always going to be generic sort of stuff like, how did you get started? Because I am genuinely interested in that, as I know a lot of people are. If you're talking to someone that is writing or drawing comic books full time, I'm always curious about how they got to that point. So it's a mix
Especially
of that.
if you're the first person to interview them, like, and you don't see any interviews where they've talked about it, like that's the
Mhm.
perfect time to talk to them about that.
Yeah, I mean, my very first interview was with Rich Davis, who's the creator of Cult of Dracula. And I'd seen a couple interviews he'd done, but not too many. And so when I reached out to him, I was thrilled that he decided to come on, because I thought he could do a really good interview, and it was my my first, but I thought it went really well. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing more. That's definitely, Interview with the Dracula is one thing that I intend to keep going, no matter what. As long as I can get people to come on the show, then yeah, that's the one thing I've really enjoyed doing.
Who are some people that you were kind of like in consideration for reaching out to ask to come on the show?
So There's a few creators I have in mind right now that I have not asked yet. I did reach out to the creators of Ice Cream Man, W. Maxwell Prince, and Martin Marazzo. They both had very busy schedules. I will, because Prince is absolutely one of my favorite writers right now. I absolutely love Ice Cream Man. I loved Ha Ha. So that's someone I absolutely would. He's like at the top of my list of people I want to interview. I really want to pick that guy's brain, you know. Um, uh, and Yeah, there's obviously like the the big names that no, never say never, but Todd McFarlane would be like at the top of my list,
Oh,
number one.
I love Todd McFarlane. Like, I'd love to see
Yeah.
anybody have Todd McFarlane on their show because he's just an inspiration to like
Hmm.
so many people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, and yeah, it's that's obviously a dream interview, but if I never got to interview him, that's okay as well. I'm also a big uh reason I wanted to do this show was also to highlight and give some exposure to some of these smaller independent creators that other people might not know about, and help get the word out on these projects, uh and basically, uh and I'm just, if I can help in any way, then that makes me happy, because these are things and people that I really like and support. So if I can help them in any way, in any small way, I realize, I don't have that many subs, but it's YouTube, the videos, as long as they don't get taken down, someone could still be watching them a couple of years from now. So, um,
Exactly.
you know, uh, it's with something like I got to interview Andrea Muti and Paul Tobin, the creators of Bunny Mask, another book I absolutely love. And if if even one person picks that comic book up because of my interview, that's incredible, right?
Yeah, you kind of open up the eyes to some people, and that it's the same way. Like, I get what you mean because like not a lot of people enjoy it, but Beast Wars, I had Eric Burnham, the writer
Hmm.
of the current Beast Wars, on my channel because I'm a fan of it,
Yeah.
and maybe spread the word, get them out there, see what other work he's done. Maybe you may enjoy this Beast Wars run.
Yeah, and me saying that is entirely possible, but I know from personal experience, because, for example, when Noctera first came out, which is one of my favorite ongoing series. I remember when Noctera came out, I had absolutely no interest in reading that whatsoever. I was just like, there's so many new books to read. I don't need to read this Noctera, whatever that is. I listened to one interview Scott Snyder did, 1 hour long interview, and by the end of that interview, I was like, "Oh, I'm definitely reading Noctera because that sounds incredible." And I did, and yeah, I absolutely love that book now. And that was just from again, like another YouTube channel that interviewed him, and they talked about Noctera, and that made me want to read Noctera. So if I'm able to do something like that with my interviews, then that's fantastic.
Yeah, that is amazing, man.
Mm.
Uh, I haven't watched the Andrea Muti, but by the time this airs, I'll probably would have. I'm backlogged on YouTube videos right now,
Mhm,
but
same here.
I,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And like, yeah, you're doing great things with your channel. You're started up this whole new fan cast thing, which you
Mhm.
invited me to, and thank you. I love fan casting, but the
Yeah.
X-Men was
Yeah.
kind of like a little bit that I'm not too familiar with the X-Men besides the movies and that. So I was
Mhm.
just like, should I really be doing a fan cast for the X-Men? But I love fan casting. So
Yeah,
what
man.
gave you that idea?
So that wasn't even my idea. That was Chad's idea, the Canadian geek. and it's kind of he approached me with it. I had him. I guess it was just after we did our Canadian episode of Casual Dracula, which you were on as well. And after that episode, he was like, I had an idea for this fan cast show. Would you be interested in this? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And so it's kind of Chad's baby. It's kind of his. He kind of set all the I guess kind of rules or guidelines for it. And yeah, the first episode I had a lot of fun. I thought it was like if all you knew from the X-Men was the X-Men movies, I think that's still okay, because throughout all the X-Men movies, you get all the really like the main characters, and I really liked your cast for your movie. So I don't know if you saw Remy Q's trailer that he made. He went above and beyond and made a trailer for his fan cast movie, which was amazing. Yeah, so I think we're planning on doing this at least once a month, keeping it a regular thing. And so, every show will be a different comic book movie, whether it's like a it could be an Avengers movie or a Spider-Man movie, or maybe a comic book that hasn't been even made into a movie yet. Yeah, so that should. I'm looking forward to doing
Youngbloods.
Youngblood, yeah, exactly. Yep, yeah, dude, that's a great idea. I think that's again, I'd have to go back and do some. It's been a while since I've read Youngblood, but the beauty of it is, even if you are not too familiar with all the characters, you can just be like, well, this person kind of reminds me of this. I'll just cast that person. It isn't necessarily. It's just for fun, right? We're not actually making these movies, at least not yet. So.
Oh, I shouldn't be sending this to Hollywood?
Oh no, you should be. You absolutely should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think it would be fun, because it literally is Image's first superhero team. It was like Image's first comic book, and a lot of the characters played into some of the stuff. Like we had, I keep forgetting his name, but he was the guy with the kind of like the skull on his face. He crossed over with Spawn, and he's the one that. Yeah, Chapel. He was the one who literally killed Al Simmons. Like.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah, Chapel's an awesome character. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so I don't know if we don't do Youngblood next episode, we definitely have to at some point. We'll see. We'll feel it. We'll see what everyone else is thinking.
Yeah, we can go like just movies, like go obscure a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Yeah, definitely.
So before we wrap up things tonight, yeah, that's right. We're filming this at night because, 27th, close to Halloween. Let's do this. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me and chatting with me for this past hour.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. This has been great.
So everybody, like, you heard what is on his channel and what he has upcoming. The link is down below to his YouTube and Instagram. Go check him out, guys. And like I said before, this is Whiplash Wednesday with the PCP Army Bad Batch. It all started over on Nick Comic Culture's channel. This Cadets, Toys, and More video. And then next up is Crisis on Infinite Rants. That's right. That's Brandon, Comics Kings, and my boy Missing Link Stefan. Then after that, check out another video from Nick Comic Culture, overcompensating for something. But yeah, that's right. He will show you what he picked up this new comic book day. Then Sam from Sam's Tangled Web and Big Herm Collectibles chop it up about Marvel, DC, Image, Indies, movies, TV shows. Who knows? Go and find out. Then Ending the night in fashion is Tomorrow Cinema. Tonight is, I think it is What Are You Geeking Out About? And it's co-hosted with my boy Cryo Prime. So you're going to go want to check that out and go support everybody at the PCP Army Bad Batch. The links are all down below. So to end the night out, I know you're enjoying, you said Bunny Mask and that. What are some of the other comics that you're absolutely loving that you think everybody should at least give a chance to?
So I did mention a couple others. One would be Noctera,
Oh, yes.
Ice Cream Man, of course. That might be my favorite ongoing series right now. Nice House on the Lake as well. I just picked up the last issue, haven't read it yet, but really enjoying that. And if I could pick one more, let's see. I'm also so behind on my reading. I did just pick up one pretty interesting book this week, which is Chicken Devil #1. I read that. I liked that. I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going. Yeah, I'd say my highest recommendation, which has been for a while, is still would probably be Ice Cream Man. I'm still absolutely loving that series. Yeah.
Ice Cream Man. Chicken Devil, man. I've heard things about that. I did not pick it up personally, but I heard it was like a lot like Breaking Bad. And they actually reference Breaking Bad in the book.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So, and it's just crazy. Like you loved it though?
Yeah, it was fun. I like I forget the artist's name. It's got this great kind of loose, sketchy style to it. It's just like it's. I don't think it's something that takes itself too seriously. It's just a fun read. Yeah. I mean, it's a guy in a chicken suit. I guess getting revenge. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Well, you guys heard it here first. Go check out Actual Dracula's channel. Go check out everything from the PCP Army Bad Batch, and go check out the many channels I have down below as well, because you know this community, we love everybody. And as Roscoe likes to say, best community in the world. So thank you so much, Adrian, for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
So would you like to have any final words?
Yeah, just thank you. Thank you to anyone who's watched any of my videos or liked. Thank you to all my subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. And yeah, I mean, let's just let's keep it going, boys. And I guess, as always, station.